together. I don't know what the results of it were for you, but we talked about, both of us, shipping Tasty-Kakes, that's a Philadelphia cake, to friends who no longer live in Philadelphia.
Right.
You know?
If you've ever lived back there,
Yeah.
it's a habit, and you grow up with these little cupcakes, and you cannot live without them. That's true.
What happened after you
Well,
talked
let me
about it?
just briefly, let me revamp the story to tell you so I can set up and tell you it was even more bizarre, the recap of it. I used to, whenever I went to Philadelphia, I took an empty suitcase, because I lived out here in Vegas now, and I'd fill it with Tasty-Kakes, you know, and on the way home from the Mike Douglas show, I could fill it at the little grocery store, $40 worth of cupcakes. And get to the airport, fly right back, and be in Vegas the next morning, and the cupcakes were fresh, and the kids took them to school. It was great. So I got to the hotel with the suitcase full of cupcakes, and the agency called, said, go to Toronto, work a club day. So I went to Toronto, and I got to customs. The guy said, open your luggage. And he, you know, he said, what are you, a salesman? And I said, no, I'm taking them to my kids. And, you know, it got more bizarre. Where do you live? I live in Vegas. Where'd you get them? Philadelphia. What are you doing in Toronto? So now he said, well, what are you doing in Toronto? And when I said, well, I'm up here doing a show. He said, what? I said, I'm up here doing a show. He said, oh, you're an entertainer. So they went in the back and talked it over. They came out, and they decided I was trying to smuggle heroin into Canada. So they opened every pack of cupcakes and broke one of each pack. And then they said, all right, you don't have no heroin. Go ahead. Then I got into Canada, and the next morning I had to come back through American Customs. The guy said, open your luggage. I opened it up, and the guy said, will you get them cheaper when they're like that? So, it's true. This is a true story. And I said, no, I was reticent to tell him why they were like that, you know. And he said, well, what is that? Well, I'm taking them home to my kids. I said, well, where you take them now? I said, Las Vegas. He said, where'd you get them? Philadelphia. He says, you don't go through Canada when you come from Philadelphia to Las Vegas. So then I had to say it. Well, I was up there doing a show. Oh, showbiz, huh? So now you know what they decided? That I had the heroin in the unbroken cupcakes, and I was real clever. So they went and they broke the rest of the cupcakes, and I got them home, and the kid said, what'd you bring us? And I went, what? And they had $40 worth of crumbs. But I found out how to do it now, David.
Yeah?
If you're ever going to have cupcakes, Tasty-Cakes, and you want to get through customs like in Canada, you do what I do. You take the cupcakes in one suitcase, then you take a big bag of heroin, and you just give it to them at customs.